Hello everyone, ¿cómo están? And welcome back to another episode of MES que un podcast. We are Johnless today because I don't know what is he doing? Did he say?
I think he's away on vacation, but we could have got that completely wrong. It's really
maybe
poor. It's actually it's actually shocking from us.
We have absolutely no idea.
He's gonna watch it as well.
So anyhow, it's just me and Pablo, like the good old days, the fun old days, and yeah. So Pablo, how are you?
Welcome. Yeah, I'm sad that we're not with John, mate. To be fair, we always miss him when he's not here. So, when the Holy Trinity is not together, we feel it, and we know you guys feel it too. But here we are. We're going to be producing Bulgar because, to be fair, it's a decently happy few weeks for Barca fans. Off the pitch, it's a bit of a mess, but on the pitch, we're liking what we're seeing. So I think people are actually going to be happy that we've made the effort. We've come here today and we've discussed it a bit because I think people are quite happy for now.
Yeah. So without further ado, before we get into the game, just guys remember to like, subscribe, follow us on YouTube, on TikTok, on wherever we post this podcast. I kind of forget, but we're everywhere, mainly everywhere, almost everywhere. So yeah, follow us there. Give us a good review. Hopefully you enjoy us. Hopefully you don't put this episode like 1 star out of 5 because John is not there. But yeah, let's start. So Barcelona just beat Atletico Bilbao at the magisterial ground that is Montjuic, right? The stuff of legends. Barcelona are now top of La Liga with all games won. Absolutely amazing from Flick and company. What is your reaction? Am I getting too carried away? Maybe.
I mean, I don't know what you thought, but I was really impressed with the game against Athletic Club. I thought we were really good. I think we took a little bit of time to get into it in the first half. But once we did in the second half, I think, by the way, best thing that happened all game for Athletic Club was the fact that they were 1-1 at one point, because I think we ran all over them. First point I want to make is that I don't think Athletic Club were up to it. I don't know. Maybe that's our credit, but I think also maybe it's a bit down to them. I just wasn't impressed at all. They looked really stiff. They didn't come out at all. They didn't apply high pressure. I just wasn't impressed at all. But from a Barca point of view with Flick, that second half was really good. It was really strong. We reacted well to getting pinned back with a penalty, which really came out of nowhere. And the performance was really strong. We looked really energetic. We grew in the game, which I don't think we did last year. We looked fit. We looked hungry off the ball. And we just suffocated Athletic Club. And we just created chance after chance after chance in that second half. I think there were too many games last season that probably passed us by in the second half, and we didn't create enough. We just looked a bit tired, a bit lackadaisical. Didn't see any of that on Saturday against Athletic Club. And that's the main takeaway I have from it, is that the players look really sharp, really hungry. And it just felt like we deserved to win a match again. It's the best I've seen Barcelona play in a long, long time, but I really think it is. I think it was a step up from the game at Mestalla against Valencia, which you'd probably expect because away to Valencia, you're never really going to play that well. But I thought maybe against Athletic Club a similar thing could have happened, but it didn't. I thought we were really good. I thought all the players played very well. And I leave very happy with the game, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I agree. I think I agree with you in the sense of the most important thing for me about this team is that it remained competitive throughout the 90 minutes. Like there was not a moment where I was like, oh, we're down tools and we're going to get completely run over by Atletico Bilbao or whoever's in front of us. But we actually managed to stay competitive for the 90 minutes, even with the substitutions. I thought that was very important. I think Flick is that sort of manager that he has like 1-2 players for every position and he knows exactly what he's going to do. The plan is simple. The plan is we take at one moment Ferran Torres out, we bring somebody else to be the number 10 in behind, Lewandowski, Raphinha to the wing. That is one thing that maybe we're going to be seeing even into the third game. I think I was mentioning many times that one of the most important things for Barcelona that I wanted to see is when is the last time we had an 11 that kind of was the same matching, like one match and then the next one, consecutive lineups. We rarely saw that with Barcelona where the first 11 was the same. And I think you need that chemistry. You need to know exactly who are your starting 11 players and you need to be able to have them and manage them competitively in the sense that I think it's good for, let's say, if number 10 right now is Ferran Torres, it's good for Dani Olmo and Fermin to know that that's their competition. That's the guy they're going to trying to beat in the next game so that they can start that next match. So I think that's a sort of importance and that's a sort of importance that you need to bring to rivals in sort of within the team. And I think that's what we saw today. And I'm really, really liking, especially from Flick, that we now see precisely like a consistency in terms of the tactics being employed. We're far more vertical, and it's like, okay, give it to Balde, he's gonna go further forward. Kounde, you're gonna do the same. I think those sorts of ideas or sort of plans that Flick is giving to the team are very clear, and I like how we're progressing. And like you said, I think it's been a while since Barcelona deserved to win a game, and I know it's just match day 2. It's a little bit difficult not to get carried away, though, because it's like we're good, we're now solid, we're looking competitive. How can we be with our starting players coming back? Like add Gavi, add Ronald Araujo, add a Frankie de Jong to this team, and suddenly Barcelona look a lot stronger.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm just making a few notes here because it was one of those games actually where I left it and I had loads to talk about because I think there were a lot of really good individual performances, but there was also a lot to be really happy with. I think you're right to say let's not get carried away. I think, for example, when this pod comes out the next day, we've got Rayo away on a Tuesday night. That is going to be an absolute brawl, and that is exactly the sort of game that all of a sudden, bang, you drop points in and it just like derails the momentum. That's going to be an almighty test for this team. It really is that sort of scrappy game. It's not going to be a pleasant watch. We all know that. That's going to be a real test. So I don't want to go absolutely crazy here, but it was really encouraging because sometimes maybe it takes time for managers to implement their style. I don't know about you, but I think we're seeing Flick's style pretty early on here. I think Barca are a lot more direct. They're really hungry to recover the ball in the final third. I think Valverde said that himself on DAZN after the game, and he was just like, it's really difficult to play against this Barca team. And actually, you can see that. That's maybe the best I've seen us for 90 minutes in 6 months or so, or 7 months, 8 months. I'm being serious because we were relentless in the way we were winning the ball back and putting Athletic under pressure. There wasn't a moment in that second half where I was like, oh, here they come. Here comes the 5-10 minutes of crosses into the box and defending. We had them the whole second half. They couldn't get a sniff. It should have been way more than 2-1. And that's something we went have to improve our finishing, I suppose. But Lewandowski could have had a hat-trick. And there were just chances after chances, you know?
Yeah, I think... Yeah, go.
Sorry. Maybe say your point in a minute. I wanted to ask you about Lewandowski, though, Bulgar. Because we've given him stick, and he's probably got stick. And I think we did the thing, Lewandowski, over or under 20 La Liga goals this season. And I think both you and John said over.
Yeah.
To me, he looks so much better in 2 match weeks.
He looks fresh, and he looks
so much better.
But I think it's what I said before. Like I mentioned, how I thought Lewandowski really isn't the problem. Like right now, he's not the issue. The main issue that we have is like if you can just have him in the box to be there, to act like the poacher that we know he can be, he's gonna be instrumental to the team. He's gonna back himself 15 goals at least this season. So it's that sort of instructions that I think he needed for this team. Like maybe Xavi gave him a little bit too much freedom or whatnot, but he needs to be that focal point.
Yeah.
And I think that just adds so much to this team, particularly from the way we attack and the way that the other teams are going to defend against us. And I think that's the main point. Like, and just before we jump into it, like I think we're already doing it. I thought maybe we could go over the individual performances of this team of right now, our current starting 11. So we have already started with Lewandowski.
Yeah.
And I think that Lewandowski was up there for me, like throughout this game. Do you think Ter Stegen had a good game? Because I saw some people giving him stick, of course. A lot of people saying, "When's the last time that Ter Stegen saved the penalty?" But like, come on, that's just, I think, excuses at this point.
He didn't have anything to do, though. I'll also say that about Ter Stegen, which is a positive for us. But I don't think he had anything to do in this game.
Yeah, for me, the guy that is just on another level right now, it's Jules Kounde.
Say it, yeah.
It's Jules Kounde. Like this dude he's the guy I want to be. You know, when I think of someone who's on doing good on his life, he has good fashion style. He doesn't think about when's the last time we've seen Jules Kounde hang out with I don't know, have his mind distracted by something off the field. You know, like a relationship or something. We never see that from Jules Kounde. He's a guy focused. He's the definition of a chat and of strong male empowerment. And that for me is Jules Kounde. And I think everybody should follow Jules Kounde. He's absolutely insane. I really like his commitment to everything that he does. particularly of playing at a position that we know he's a position that he doesn't like to play, but he's making it his own. And I think that's a huge like comment for anybody. If you're working something and you're doing it amazingly well, and it's something you don't want to, having that like self-control over it and your impulses and whatnot, I think it's superb.
Mate, he's a joke. For me, he's the best right back in the world.
Yeah,
that's what I believe. For me, he's the best right back in the world. The way he dealt with Nico Williams was absolutely superb. He's Barca's best defender and most consistent defender by a long way right now. He's one of the leaders of the team. I know he wasn't involved in the captain's shortlist, and I know you guys maybe put him forward for that. But just the way he holds himself every game, you can tell he's obviously got his head screwed on well. But I mean, even on the pitch, he's just like, I back him 100%. When I see a bit of like a 50-50 or like a situation coming up on our left hand side, on the opposition's left hand side, I know Kounde's going to go out and set out the fire, because he's that sort of player and he's in that sort of form right now. And you're right about the right back position, because even though he denied it, I think it was almost open and common knowledge that he wasn't happy with playing there, that he saw himself as the future centre-back for Barca, that centre-back was his position for a long time, that he didn't want to be forced wide, he felt uncomfortable progressing and crossing the ball. He's got better at everything. Better at everything. I don't think any manager would take him away from right-back right now, because he's so good there. He's made it his own and he plays 9 out of 10 there every game. The more Kounde does that, the more joy we're going to have, genuinely.
Yeah, but I agree. One guy though that worries me a little bit, it's Pau Cubarsí. I think he didn't have the best of games yesterday. I really do.
Wow.
I think he was a bit, from the game I saw against Valencia and this one.
Yeah.
For me, the best way is that, okay, he's 17, right? At 17 years of age, you're outstanding, and that's incredible. The difference is that, like Lamine Yamal, we're going to talk about him later, you make a mistake further up the field, and necessarily it won't end up in a goal,
Yeah.
I think that being a defender at this age, that's why we don't see players of that age normally playing consistently in that position, because one mistake can lead to an opposition goal, an opposition chance, and that will normally, particularly in the way that we Barcelona fans, we see this community, take reign over the comments and toxicity. I think it can completely like batter someone like Pau Cubarsí. So I'm a little bit worried in that sense, because he did make a foolish foul for a penalty. And it's not the first time. I think he also gave a penalty away not too far gone. So Pau Cubarsí, I think, is in a moment where I would love for him to start games. For instance, I'm very partidario, I don't know how to say it in English, of like having some sort of players that just play for those big occasions or those games. It's difficult for a center back because you need that consistency, but I wouldn't be opposed of having like Pau Cubarsí play every home game, for instance, and then you have somebody else. But right now we don't have that. What you mean? We don't have that availability to us. Every single other center back in our squad is injured. So I think he's.
That's what I was going to say. Like, we are in a situation now where for every game for a long time, including midweeks that we've got coming up this week against Rayo and then Valladolid on the weekend, it's Pau Cubarsí and Inigo Martinez.
And Eric Garcia.
Yeah, that's true. They could put Eric in, but I think Eric could still leave to Girona. But they might have to change that now that Christensen's got injured, and of course Araujo's already injured, and Kounde plays right back. Mika Faye has gone. All of a sudden, we're a little bit light at centre back. I hear you on Cubarsí. I agree that obviously, if he makes errors, it's either a goal or a penalty, right? But he's next to Martinez now, who is more of a leader, I think, in terms of age, but maybe in terms of ability, isn't obviously Barca's best centre back. So it's a duo that I think is doing well up to now. Maybe because we haven't been tested that much. We've actually played well enough in both games to not really be under the cosh that much. But that I think will be tested because it's not Barca's strongest centre-back partnership. I think beginning of the season, you would have said Araujo and Christensen would have been the centre-back partnership, for Hansi Flick. So it's not an ideal situation that's already cropped up very early into the season. I will say that.
Well, what's the sort of feeling around the camp with Inigo Martinez? Is he like a leader? He's someone who people take very highly. I'm not too sure. That's where I want a little bit more, and maybe you know more about it than me.
I think he's more of a leader than people realize. I want to
Yeah.
say that. What I mean by that is when Inigo Martinez is playing, I think he's the guy that takes charge at the back. He's a very vocal player. He's a natural leader at centre back, and I think that works well with a youngster like Kounde, of course. I do think though that in another scenario he would have been sold this summer.
Yep.
I genuinely believe that. I think in another scenario, I think he would have gone. For example,
I was very much pushing for him to be sold.
Were you? And for example, Eric Garcia doesn't go to the Olympics. He has all the preseason in America with Hansi Flick. Araujo isn't injured at the Copa America. Christensen isn't injured. All of a sudden, Hansi Flick and Barca might be thinking, this is the 32-year-old, is he now? Why don't we just push him out? Maybe Mika Faye impresses more. Circumstances meant that all of a sudden Inigo Martinez becomes Barca's senior and most important centre-back, really. I think he's the guy that Flick is going to be looking to. I think Flick likes him anyway. I thought he would have, because he's a tough centre-back, isn't he? He's a bit of a bull at the back, Inigo Martinez. I got the vibe that Hansi Flick coming from the Bundesliga would have liked Inigo Martinez. I really did. So I think he's...
Yeah, it seems like it.
I mean, he stays 110% now. There's no way he can go now. But I also think he plays an awful lot for the next few months. In fact, the international breaks that are coming up might do Barca a bit of help just to give players extra few weeks to come back.
Looking at Alejandro Balde, I think that's another player where he's just such a joy to have him back in the team. I think he's such a threat for that left-hand side. Particularly last season, for instance, we were lacking that very much. We didn't have a focal point on the left, someone who just is our starting player in that position. And having Alejandro Balde, even though he's the left back, it's just such a breath of fresh air. I really do think that it allowed, for instance, for Ferran Torres to even have a much better game because he could just close inside and he knew that someone would be the threat for the left-hand side. I think that Balde is top-notch with his dribbling. He's literally going to be what we all initially thought, that is just, he's going to be the Alphonso Davies to this team that Flick used before. It's literally, they have a very similar profile, and I love the way forward thinking he is, and he's also very much a credible defender, I think, as well. People overlook that part of his game, so he's just overall for me such a crucial player right now for this team. But I'm a bit worried about what do you think of, like, if he gets injured, what do we do now? You know, that first scared in Mestalla, I was like, are we going to really rely on Gerard Martin for the rest of the games? Like, we're going to need Champions League, we're going to have important crucial games. What are we going to do?
I think this is I think something that is a bit of a problem right now. I think our squad is actually very weak. I don't think Flick's talking about it, and I think that's really good. He's blocked out all the noise, Flick. Press conference, everything, all the media, and he's just focusing on the players he's got available, and it's working really well at the moment, clearly. Clearly they're getting the message because they're playing really well. But there is a problem squad depth-wise. Let's go through the back five, for example, from yesterday. Ter Stegen, if he gets injured, Iñaki Peña's in goal. Kounde, if he gets injured, Hector Fortes at right back. Kounde, if he gets injured, Eric Garcia comes in. If Inigo Martinez goes out too, who on earth are we putting at centre-back? Sergi Dominguez or someone from the B team? Gerard Martinez to come in for Balde. Do you see what I mean? These deputies. I think I looked at our squad list yesterday, and I think I'm right in saying there were 4 players who weren't Spanish. It's a good indicator that essentially the entire squad was La Masia. Yeah. Essentially the entire squad, or obviously a few signings, Pedri, Ferran Torres. Obviously these are Spanish players who weren't brought up in La Masia. But still, the gist is there. That bench is essentially the B team right now, which in our current financial situation isn't the worst idea, I don't think, but it is something to think about because of the point you just made there, Bulgar. If we've got injuries across this back line right now, you know, we're not bringing in, you know, deputies of like a European level or a Champions League level. These guys are players who have been playing in the 3rd division in their career so far of Spanish football. That's the reality.
I think that maybe we can sort of... I think we do need that extra fullback, you know. I think we do need that. I keep saying, like, Mazarraoui was there. I don't know how much money he went for, but I remember saying it was very, very little. You know, a player like that, a João Cancelo.
I think if we can get João Cancelo, then that'll be a good bit of business, actually. What do you think?
We need someone who just can be there for that. Someone who can play both left back and right back. You know, like Hector Ford for me is a very good player we can get in. But apparently Flick doesn't really like him. But for me, we need someone like that just to cover out those two positions. Like maybe Alejandro Balde, sometimes he even played a right back. Remember last time around?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we cannot do that because we don't have anybody who can cover his position naturally on the left. So we're such in a big. And you know what's also important? I think Gerard Martin and Alejandro Balde are so different in terms of how they are as a player. That Gerard Martin it's taller, it's bigger, he's a bit tougher. You know, he's a little bit girthier. He's just a more defensive minded left center back rather than an attacking center left back. So I don't really know how this could pan out in the future. Like you were saying, I think we're very, very thin there, and I'm not too sure how we're gonna carry out. We just do not have the money to make any of these signings. Like right now, look, Johnny's gonna love this, but right now, how mental would it be to have kept someone like Serginho Dest?
I knew it was coming.
But like, dude, he's perfect. He's right back, left back. He could just easily be a nice replacement of good enough level to compete in La Liga and be responsible for that position. I think that'll be good enough. He's a starting fullback for PSV and the US men's national team. So I think that's perfect in a sense. Or like even keeping Mika Faye. I thought we were gonna keep Mika Faye as a left back because sometimes he plays there. So I was thinking that could be a solution. But right now, I'm really struggling to see where we're gonna do defensively if any of ththese players get injured, or even Pau Cubarsí. I'm thinking, didn't he also get a yellow card against Valencia? Maybe, I think.
Yeah.
So dude, one more game he's out. He's suspended. What? So
3 yellow cards.
One more. He has 2 yellow cards already.
Yeah, but it's not 3, is it?
I think it's 3, isn't it?
I thought it was 5.
Well, anyhow, like you know what? In 5
Euros, mate.
if he continues at this rate, like, come on, he's gonna get at least a suspension sometime. So it's like, who's gonna replace him then? I think the mix of Andreas Christensen was very worrying for me when I heard that during the week.
I know.
So yeah, I don't really know. I think that Marc Bernal, Casado are good players for those pivot positions. I would keep that. What do you think of? Let's talk about them quickly.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Bernal because he has played amazing this game and the last one as well.
Yeah. I mean, can I just start by saying it surprised me that he was the one who stayed instead of Casado. I thought Casado was the MVP against Valencia. And I thought he showed his grit, he showed his toughness, whereas Bernal was maybe a bit more rocked by the crowd and whatnot. But he looked really good yesterday, Bulgar. And you've got to consider as well that it's not like he's in a midfield with a Frenkie de Jong next to him. He's with Pedri next to him, who's not exactly defensive. He's going to push forward. Raphinha is a right winger or a left winger. He's going to push forward. He was sort of alone in there. The way Barca played meant they didn't really have that much defending to do, of course. But he controlled things really well. He's a good presence in there too, by the way. He's 6'1". He's a tall lad, actually, for just 17. And he looks really calm, very smooth with his left foot. Another great player, actually, coming up through La Masia. I know we always say it, but it's just relentless, isn't it? And credit, left-footed, yeah.
Ooh.
You didn't realise that?
No.
Didn't see him strutting it around with his left foot.
That means he's so good that I didn't notice,
Yeah, well.
But I think you're right by saying I was surprised that Casado wasn't the one who stayed. I was really surprised by that. I honestly didn't expect it. I think that Bernal right now is more of that normal CDM, like sort of Busquets-esque kind of guy, Rodri kind of guy, that sort of guy who controls a little bit more. Casado reminds me more of a Sergi Roberto at his early stages, maybe someone like that, a CDM who is a bit more of, he likes to play around with the team. He likes to push a little bit further forward. He's a little bit more of stamina-wise. He's the guy who's going to have those high work rates, going further forward, coming back. I think Casado is the sort of guy. But the other midfield, of course, that we have to talk about, the other midfielder, Pedri. I think that Pedri, if he has one complete season without injuries, easily he's going to have best in the world shouts by the end of it. Like, I have absolutely no problem. The only reason why he has stagnated a bit and other ones has passing through, like a Bellingham or even like people like a Camavinga, Tchouaméni, who are getting a bit more, media presence. The moment that Pedri starts playing that one full season, dude, he's up there. He's really up there. I think the best description I can give him, he may not be the best midfielder in the world right now, but I think he's the best to watch.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I think when Pedri's on it, I think he's potentially the best there. It's and the reason I don't say that more is because I don't want to be one of those people like, you know, the classic Pogba debate when it's like, oh, when he's on his day that he's the best, but it's like, but he's not on his day enough. So that's why I reserve it. And I hear people if they don't want to put Pedri in the top bracket right now, because I agree he hasn't been available enough to be in it. But when he is available, and that first season, for example, and I think now if he gets back to it, you just watched him yesterday, and he just looks like the best player on the pitch. He really does. But the way he dictates everything good for Barca. He's one of those players that when he's at it, the team revolves around him. And I think he did the same when he came on at Mestalla, by the way, the other day. Comes on and just dictates the tempo. It's all in Pedri's game. He's one of the best players to watch, actually. I think such a good player. Such a shame we can't see him more. And I hope he just stays fit this season with the new physical trainers and Julio Torres, who's come in and you know, I don't know, I suppose switching up the physical preparation of Barcelona under Hansi Flick. So I'm hopeful for that.
For me, Pedri has one thing that, for instance, he's not. I wouldn't compare him to the Pogba or for me, Pogba, Dembele, sort of similar players in the sense that you can be on it, and when you're on it, you're amazing. Yeah. But for me, Pedri has one thing that, like, I honestly right now I cannot put another name in my head other than Messi, in the sense that he can be injured and the next game he comes in, he's just as good. That sort of consistent level of Pedri shows he just simply is not it. He's not in enough because he's injured. But the moment he's there, he's 10 out of 10, like 9 out of 10, like at least minimum 8 out of 10. Pedri's always that good. Like against PSG, I remember he was injured for I don't know how long. He came in, bang, instant impact. You know, that sort of player that he can just completely revolutionize the midfield whenever he's, no matter the situation, no matter the context. For me, Pedri is just simply that sort of player. Yeah. And I guess that for Lamine Yamal, moving now a little bit further forward in the pitch, I think he's also damn. Lamine Yamal is such a talent, honestly. But I can't see games, for instance, against Valencia. I think he was not there just yet. You know, like he is good. He's above average every single game, but to be, he needs to get that consistency a little bit more. I think, of course, he's just 16 years of age, but it is 21. They are 5 years different, so it's gonna come. Hopefully, it's gonna come, that consistency. But I think that we're just so blessed to have someone like Lamine Yamal there. And I don't know if you noticed, but the goal that he scored was against Nico.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I know. Nico was sleeping, mate, from the set piece in the corner. Well, it was a kick, wasn't it?
Jules Kounde just completely took him out of the game, and he just never could refocus Nico Williams. Lamine Yamal, oh my God, what a talent. That goal for me just speaks wonders. And whenever I see that, you know, he already is 16 years of age and he has 2 trademark like moves. You know, the curler with the left like Messi did, but Lamine Yamal's is a little bit, I don't know if you realize, but Lamine Yamal's curler is a bit like higher. It goes up furthermore and then it comes down. Messi was more like boom, direct.
Yeah.
I think the way that they hit the ball is a bit different. And also, of course, the cross with the left, the little like dink over it. Yeah. He already has 2 signature moves and he's 16 years of age. Like, that's insane, dude.
Yeah, mate, when he comes inside and does the crosses, that's the one I'm always most like excited about, Lamine, because I just think they're always going to end up in goals. And if we time those runs right, I think we're going to get a lot of goals. I still think Lamine's building up to full ability, by the way. I still don't think we're seeing the best of him. We didn't out-mess Dyer for sure, but obviously his dad's situation was just the day before and with all of that. But I think in general, like, yesterday, again, or the game on Saturday, still wasn't the best version of Lamine. That's what the exciting thing. I think he said that he's got a bet with his dad, actually, for goals and assists this season too. That's hopeful. I think he's going to get more goals and assists this season. I really do. I think he's going to grow in that regard and keep growing throughout his career, naturally, as he's just only 16 or 17, moving through the ranks. That's the exciting thing about Lamine. I mean, in live time, I thought he hit it straight into the corner. Obviously, it was a header deflection off Lecque that sent it into the corner, obviously, for the goal. But still, to produce that on, like, after the Euros, one of your first game back in front of the home fans, that's absolute class. He just makes a difference, Lamine. He's so fun to watch every week as well. And yeah, I think him with Raphinha on the right-hand side too, make a nice little partnership. Works really well.
That's the next player. I think we have to talk about Raphinha. People, this guy is so good. Like, thank God he's the captain. Man of the match. Thank God he's the captain. And like, honestly, you put him on the left, you put him through the middle. Yeah. Like on the middle, maybe not so much, but on the left, even he's still as good. Like on the right, maybe it's just a different sort of Raphinha. You're not gonna get the Raphinha who cuts inside and shoots. And actually, I don't think that's the best Raphinha. I think the best Raphinha is the one who goes past the man and then he can cross with his left or just find the spacing behind. I think that's the Raphinha I like the most. I don't know about you, but I honestly I don't care. You can put him left back, and I know he's going to be good.
Yeah. It was a man of the match display for him again. I don't actually think he's going to stay in that position that he's in now, purely because I think once Olmo is registered and once Fermin is fit, I think that's for them. And we'll see where Gavi fits into. I actually think Gavi would more be where Pedri is right now, for example.
Yep.
But still, I just think that's for Olmo. I really don't think it's tailor-made for him. But left wing still works fine for me. I'm thinking Lamine on the right, Raphinha on the left, Olmo on the number 10, Lewandowski up front, and that's exciting to me. I think it's a really strong front four. I think it's got goals in it, it's got creativity, it's got work rate. But Raphinha, again, was the best player on the pitch yesterday, Borja. For me, alongside Pedri and Lewandowski, I think he was absolutely superb, did everything right, works so hard, obviously, off the ball, we know that, but he produces in the final third too.
Yeah, and we already talked about Lewandowski. There's one player we need to talk about still, and that's the shark, El Tiburón Torres.
What are you genuinely though? Like, give me like your honest thoughts on him right now. Because
honest thoughts.
I think he's struggling.
I think honestly, yesterday was better than Mestalla.
Yeah, it was. But...
It was. I think it's better. I think the thing is that I don't think he suits right now the left mid position. Like, I don't think that's where he plays his best football. For me, Ferran Torres is not the guy who beats a man and then just runs into space and can just easily cut inside and shoot. He's much more of the guy who for me makes those runs behind. He's the sort of guy who can help Lewandowski up front. Like I keep saying, for me, if he plays like the Muller role, I think that'd be good. Like if he played through the middle and help right now, for instance, a Lewandowski or be just an extra guy there who makes the runs, it will be better. That's why I think it was a bit better this time around when Balde, overlapped way more than they did against Mestalla.
Yeah.
Because he can just forgive the left flank and then focus a little bit more through the middle. And I think that's where we see the best of Ferran Torres. But I'm not too sure why there's such reluctancy to just put him there. Like, why didn't you just start the game with Raphinha on the left and then have Ferran Torres through the middle? Like, for me, there's something there that right now it's struggling. And I think also it will work quite well because I think he's a guy who starts the press very, very nicely. He's a guy who's not afraid to run a little bit back and track or cover or man mark a man. I think that's a sort of a player we should be looking at right now from Ferran Torres. And I think that still he can be a valuable asset to the squad because, as you say, we don't have the luxury that we've ever had before. I think he can be a sort of presence. If Lewandowski is not available for a game, he can be a deputy in that position. And I think that's sort of like that. That's where I'm looking at Ferran Torres right now. I don't think Ferran Torres is going to be the guy who's going to be starting every game. But so far, I mean, maybe it's just because the other players are coming in and there's no Dani Olmo, there's no Fermin Lopez, but Flick maybe sees something in him for whatever reason. Like, why is he playing there and not someone like Pau Victor or someone like Fermin Lopez, even this game that he came in,
Yeah. No, I think it's probably his work rate, Obviously, he works hard, but on left wing, he's not a left winger, Bulgar. Because look at him compared to Nico Williams. Nico Williams is someone who you get the balls on the left, and he's going to beat people, he's going to go past players. Ferran isn't that. So when Ferran gets the ball on the left, he always has to come back in and pass back to the midfielder or the left back. And that stagnates us a little bit there. I agree. I think he's more like almost
He's an inside forward.
Yeah, he is. Because he can make runs in behind and be central. And he's actually quite tall, so he's got a decent presence there as well. Because as like a winger, maybe he's even better on the right because on the left, I don't know. Whenever he gets the ball, I just feel like he's not as capable there. Do you see what I mean?
He reminds me of like a Sergio Roberto, but for the final third.
That's
the best way I would describe him. And that's not. I think honestly, for instance, we have been so mean to Sergio Roberto, this fan base. Like, every team needs that. Every team needs un Choclo Milner. Everyone needs a Milner, James Milner in their team. A James Milner.
Oh, so you said a Milner.
In Spanish, people say Choclo. I don't know why they call him Choclo Milner.
I was going to say, what are you on about? Like a Milner yogurt?
No, Choclo means like what do you call it? Like corn.
Okay. A chocolate.
I don't know why. Choclo Milner.
A chocolate Milner. Okay.
Milner. You know James Milner?
Yeah, I know James Milner. Yeah,
Yeah, that guy. That's every team needs that, and I think that Ferran Torres is that guy. So I think honestly he can be good. He can like right now we don't have the luxury to sell him and bring somebody indifferent.
no,
But
no.
anyhow, there's a player that has been making the rounds, and that's Federico Chiesa. I think that's the last point we should talk for
Yeah,
today.
okay.
What do you think about Chiesa? Is it someone that excites you a bit? Do you think that maybe he can bring something? Apparently, I'm hearing rumors that um, Hansi Flick wanted him at Bayern at some point. Of course, for me, the best Chiesa was that Chiesa in the 2020 Euros. I think for me, he's a player who just has not that one-on-one ability like a Nico Williams to beat a man, but he does have it. He does have it, but he's just gonna be so fast for the left hand side and be an extra outlet. I think Chiesa can give that, but I'm worried, of course, about the injuries because we're just signing injury-prone player after injury-prone player. Like Dani Olmo is also very well known for his injuries.
Yeah, I think the transfer market is the way we end this episode because it's still, even though we've started well, this season is very long. We've got a lot of games. We've got four. Is it four more? Or no, we've got two more Champions League group stage games, obviously this season.
Yeah.
So with this current squad, I mean, defensively, we need another body in there. Surely the sub goalkeeper again is a problem. No, if the Stegen gets injured or something happens again, and then you look forward as well. I mean, in midfield, surely we're still light in the DM role, and then even in the attack, yeah, we probably still need another winger. So I still think we're missing a lot of players, Bulgar. That's the only thing I will say, and I don't think we're going to get many in the door. Maybe the only one we'll get in the door is Chiesa. Does he excite me? Not massively right now, I'm going to be honest. I don't think he's done much for Juventus for the last 2 seasons. I think they'd be happy enough to offload him, is their position. Juventus, by the way, are not in a good position right now either. They've really fallen off. But he's been injury prone for a while, Chiesa. Hasn't hit the heights. Of course, in 2021, after that Euros, who didn't want Chiesa? He was the guy everyone was talking about. He was absolutely brilliant. I loved watching Chiesa. He was one of my favourite players that tournament because, why wouldn't he be? Do I think Flick could get something out of him? Yes. I trust Flick in the fact that he could help us on the left-hand side. For example, I think he'd suit the left wing position better than a Ferran Torres. But say we sign Chiesa, does he start at left wing for us over Raphinha? For me, probably not. If we sign Nico Williams, did he? I think he did.
Yeah, I think that's the difference. But look, for me, Chiesa for 10 million euros plus free variables, which is what's being talked about, that's as great business as you can do. Like, that's very good business. There were points where I think Juventus rejected like 80 million euros at one point from Bayern Munich or like that. So 13 million euros for Chiesa, I'll take that every day. Like the problem is like, how do you get him in the wage budget in the wage bill? Because right now, Dani Olmo, like I heard something insane. Like I woke up yesterday and I watched the debut of Gundogan earlier in the morning, and he had been at Manchester City for 1.5 days. And 14 days has passed since Dani Olmo is in Barca, and he still hasn't made his debut.
Yeah,
that's a bit worrying.
Not a good look, obviously. It's not a good look, and we don't know. Maybe that's why Nico hasn't ended up coming. It's obviously not a good look. We can't hide from that fact. Everyone is laughing at us. I think at the moment we're doing the job on the pitch, which is sort of giving us a bit more time. Maybe giving Laporta a bit more time, because obviously, it's not ideal with the situation that's going on with the registrations.
I just don't know how we get him in. So that's for me the thing that what are we gonna do? Like apparently we've sold, we got rid of Lenglet, we got rid of Mika Fey. We're maybe gonna get rid of Eddie Garcia, but like Vitor Roque, of course, he has gone. Is it possible to get Chiesa? If we can get Chiesa, would you do it? That's the thing I would ask you. Would you do it?
Yeah, I would, because I think we need another winger option for this season, but I just feel like he potentially won't perform, and then we've got another player we want to try and offload next summer. He's not someone at the beginning of the summer, he wouldn't have been near my list of players to buy for a future Barca project. So you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't want to make one of those stupid signings that we always do in the last few years to try and give illusion to the fans on deadline day. when in fact they didn't really have a role in this team and wouldn't have if we were planning it properly at the start of the season. That's my worry with him.
The only thing for me that is different, he reminds me a lot of like João Felix last season. You know, it screams of a signing like that.
Yeah, I know.
Where the difference is that I think João Felix didn't fit into any position of the team last season.
Yeah.
You know, he's like one of those players where you go, dude, if João Felix can actually play good, we're going to be golden. Like that's of course. But if Kielsa turns good, he's going to be incredible. Like that, every signing, if they turn incredible, it's going to be good, you know. But for me, Kielsa at least fits on paper on what Flick wants. And for me, that's the difference. Like, we don't have any sort of pace with the left-hand side. Nothing right now. Or not pace, just like that ability to... We don't have a left winger. We don't. From having tons of left wingers, we have none. So it's like...
That's a good point. Is he? Would you call him more of a right winger, though?
No, I think it's a left winger. Because he shoots with his right.
I know, but he was playing right wing for Italy in that Euros, eh? And Insigne was left wing. I just want to point that out.
Yeah. But I don't know.
Obviously, he can play there, but...
I mean, Fiorentina, he was a left winger. Somebody maybe can correct us on the comments. Maybe you know more about Chiesa than us, but... I mean, I would do it. Like, I think he's, 26 years of age? If he can... If right now, I would prefer Kingsley Coman over Chiesa. If you can do it on a loan, but that name has suddenly disappeared. So I think that Chiesa makes much more sense.
Also injury prone, but yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow, Barcelona are in a very, very difficult situation. Next episode, guys, we're already going to have the end of the transfer window. So we know what's going to happen. We know how the team is going to look up. We're going to analyze the team much more in depth when that comes around. Anything else, Paulo, you want to say before we wrap this up?
Well, I mean, next week's going to be a really interesting one because we'll know our squad for next season. Number one, we will have played Rayo. Number two, we would have played Valladolid. Number three. And also Thursday night, we've got the Champions League draw. So we'll know who we're playing in the Champions League. So there's plenty to go over next time.
And just before we leave, I just read Girona are close to signing Eric Garcia for 15 million euros. I'll take. I don't know if I'll take that actually.
Serious, yeah.
Yeah. Would you take that? Like, I mean, we have no players in the center back position.
As a transaction, as an operation, would I take that? Absolutely, yes. I would love that. But right now, mate,
you simply cannot do it.
Yeah, right now we're really light on players. We are really light on players. We only have 2 centre backs left then.
Yep.
Okay.
Anyhow, that's what it is, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed this episode of Mescon Podcast, just me and Pablo. Next time, we'll try to get John here, hopefully. I say try because I don't know wherever John is. Maybe he has left us forever. I don't know. No, of course, I'm joking.
He's back. He's back for next week.
He's back. So, yes, guys, thank you very much for watching, for staying tuned. We wish you all a nice week. Yeah, I was going to say weekend, but a week because it goes on the week. So, yeah, guys, see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.
Peace.